Hey everybody, today I wanted to demonstrate a powerful piece of software that our district at Thompson has invested in that has become instrumental to my everyday practice, especially with this crazy remote hybrid model. It's particularly relevant for a synchronous model, and I'll kind of demonstrate why that is. But first, let me tell you how to get there. I'll put the link in the YouTube description for the video here below. But just so you know, it's securely.com/classroom, and securely is just spelled like the normal word but without the second E. So that'll bring you to a page that looks like this, and it can be a little bit tricky to navigate to where you need to go as a teacher to be able to monitor your students. So I'll demonstrate that as well. So we're going to go to login, and we want the device console. That makes sense because it says classroom, and this is a classroom application. So we'll click on that, and it's going to open up a second tab where if you're in Thompson, you'll just sign in with your school Google account. So I'll click that, and it's going to pull up a dashboard of sorts where I can kind of select the class that I'm going to be viewing from this drop down here. And I'll just leave it on this one and pretend I was going to start this class. So right now, these students are all gray, which means they're not being monitored by any other teachers right now. And for me to start the class, to be able to see what's on their screens, I just click Start Class, and then it will give me the option to either enter the length of time in minutes or to set an end time from the drop downs, which I definitely recommend because then it'll automatically stop monitoring them and kind of free them up for other teachers to be able to monitor them. There are some other options there that you can do, but I usually leave those blank. Although this one might be particularly helpful. I'll show you what the chat feature looks like on the teacher end in just a minute, but I found this pretty valuable to be able to chat with students. So anyway, that's how you would start it. I'm not actually going to do that now because I don't want to interfere with what they're doing. I don't actually have this class right now. So I'm going to go to a presentation that I prepared for you to be able to talk through some of these features. So here's a class. Here's what it looks like once you've started the class. I've just kind of scrolled down a little bit, and you'll see all your different students here. These two that you don't see screens for are students who were absent, so that's why I don't see anything there. The other students, though, who are logged in using their school Chromebooks, I can see all their stuff. Now, if they were using a personal computer, I wouldn't be able to use it. But if they're using their school-issued Chromebook, I can see what they're doing on their screen. So this is just thumbnail view, and it refreshes every few seconds, so I can kind of quick at a glance be able to tell what they're working on. Now, for what these guys were doing in class, they are all on task. This one's looking at Google Classroom. This one's looking at a specific assignment on Google Classroom. This one has a PDF pulled up that's relevant to that. This one is looking at a different handout that's relevant to this. So it's really great for when students are doing different things at different times, when they're kind of independently paced, so I can see really what's going on. Let's say, though, I'm looking at this kid and I'm like, he's drawing on his paper. Is he just doodling, or is he annotating, or maybe I want to see what he's annotating or why he crossed out a big section or whatever. I can click on this little eye icon, and that'll pull it up larger. I can also click this chat icon if I want to chat with him. So that's a cool feature as well. So if I click on the eye icon, it looks like this, and it takes me to a page that just focuses on that one student. You'll see that I can monitor the open tabs, and he has 4 tabs open. They're all relevant to what we were doing. Even if they weren't all relevant to what we were doing, that's not necessarily a problem. As you'll see, I have a whole bunch of stuff at the top of this screen that is not relevant to what we're doing. So it doesn't necessarily mean he's off task, but it's good to know. And I can just click the trash can icon to close a tab that's not relevant. We have to be aware, of course, how that might come across to a student. But if the student is just blatantly playing a video game during class, I have no problem being the bad guy and closing that tab. Now, the student can open it right back up again. So if the student's not getting the message after you close it several times or whatever, you can chat with that student and be like, get back on task. Or you can lock the screen if the student is just refusing to focus. And there's a little message you can customize to put that'll show when it locks the screen. You can also save the screen if you feel like you might need it for evidence for some sort of, I don't know, referral or something. You can lock it on a specific site. You can make announcements to a particular student or to the class. You can print the screen. Lots of great options here. One cool thing that I want to show you that I haven't talked about yet really very much is the chat feature. So let me go back real quickly. Again, that's just right here. You can click on that and click chat. It'll pull up a window that looks like this. So this is great for a student who looks like they've stalled out, or maybe they're off task or something like this. You'll see the thumbnail. She's on task, but I wanted to check in with her because maybe she has a 504 or an IEP, or maybe she just seems like she's a little bit behind, or she's working on the wrong assignment. So I can ask something really innocuous like, how are you doing? Do you have any questions or anything? So in this case, this is a real thing that happened just the other day. She said, yeah. Now, she didn't initiate a question, but once I prompted, then she asked, which was great. So she said, yeah, where's the page that has the modes and tones on it? Talking about rhetorical modes and tone. I'm having trouble finding it. Now, I could go off about how I've linked this in 5 different locations and I've talked about it 5 different times in class, but instead I said, let me grab it for you. And then I used a different feature on Securely that's pretty cool. So again, if we go back, you have this push URL option. So that's what I clicked when I said, let me grab that for you. I got the URL, copied it on my computer, clicked push URL, and oh yeah, it's right there. And then it pulls up a window like this. So I pasted that URL here, and I just said it's called Because You Asked or whatever. Then I click push URL, and then it goes straight to her computer, opens it up on her computer, so she can't miss it, has no excuses for not knowing where it is. That can be another subtle way, not so subtle way, to get students back on task if they're on the wrong page or something like that. Or just a nice way to be able to essentially hand something out to your students virtually. So that's a great feature as well. There are, I'm sure, lots of other features with Securely that I don't even know about yet. But for me, I'm most excited about it as a way to assess students' work habits and give them feedback on that, a way to do discrete checks for understanding through the chat feature, and a way to be able to distribute stuff in real time very, very quickly and easily. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, but of course, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'm sure the people at Securely are great about that as well. Thanks so much. Have a great day.